Hey guys, I'm Doug,
I'm Chris.
and today Chris, who is our resident expert, is going to teach us how to be better runners.
And despite me looking like a troll, I do know somewhat what I'm talking about.
We're going to be doing a series of videos talking about some things that those of us like me don't really know about when it comes to running or understand why things are the way they are in the program. The first one is we're going to talk about warming up. Chris, what is the purpose of warming up before a run when I'm used to just like smoking a cigarette, finishing my cup of coffee, and like off I go for my annual PT test?
You can still do that. You know, nothing wrong with smoking cigarettes before runs, but warming up is essential, especially when you're doing things that are faster speed. It's going to depend on what run you're doing. So if you're going for a 10-mile easy run or 5-mile easy run, it's less crucial to do all these warm-ups. But if you're doing something like some track work or a hard hill session, this is really crucial to kind of activate your legs, activate your central nervous system, and get your body ready to go out the door. So the first step you're taking is not the first thing you've done for your body to be doing some movement.
When people see those warm-ups, they're like, well, I'll warm up on the track, right? That's when like hamstring tweaks happen and, you know, it's just overall lower performance, right?
100%. It's not as often, not many injuries as when, you know, we play PT with like football and stuff like that. But there's a lot of injuries from doing PT tests, from not warming up properly. So you're not pouring sweat, you're not, you know, gassing yourself out from your warm-up, but to have a nice little light sweat going, first thing you're doing is actually getting your legs moving, getting your body moving. So it's actually pretty crucial.
Why is it a bad idea for us to just kind of like lay out next to the track and do static stretching?
Static stretching is when you just go down, do a stretch, hold it for 30 seconds. The shit we think that is initially from stretching. That is really good for post-run. That's good for recovery, kind of decrease soreness. But before you do activity, dynamic stretching, which is active movement. So you can do leg swings, things like that, doing some strides, some just things where you're moving dynamically, getting your body used to going in a pattern. And I don't want to get too nerdy scientific about it, but getting your central nervous system warmed up, having those movement patterns. It's really crucial to have glute activation, which I know is like a buzzword in the running community, but it really is. Most of your power comes from your butt. So if you activate that by doing bridges, things like that, that's where you're going to have your engines coming from, is doing that. You don't want to have all of your effort coming from your hamstrings and your quads, which are smaller muscles, and they can't produce as much energy. You put extra strain on them, you're probably going to strain something, tweak something, and then you're pretty much fucked for your run.
So in theory, Kim Kardashian is an excellent runner.
She's probably fantastic.
She'd run from me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay.
You said earlier
Yep.
that if you're doing like high output,
Yep.
like, you know, sprint work, it's more important to spend more time warming up.
100%.
In a lot of our SOFLETE programs,
Yep.
we put the stamina work and the sprint work and stuff at the end of a strength session because we want guys to get the most out of their strength work and then move into the stamina-oriented work. Guys are still not always primed up to do that kind of sprint work after they've been doing like squats or something like that, right? So like getting this kind of CNS activation and positioning is something guys still need to be doing, right?
100%. And they give an added benefit. So if you actually do sprint work and running work after doing a strength session, it actually does boost your running strength. They say 5 to 10%, which is great. So
Really?
you get an additional benefit from kind of doing those on the same day.
This is why we brought experts in.
So it definitely is good, so you guys know what you're doing with your programming.
First drill is the A skip.
Sure.
What exactly is going on with the A skip?
So people know how to skip, and this is the closest variation to just skipping like you remember when you were a kid. It is to get everything activated in kind of an exaggerated running form and getting all the muscles that are going to be incorporated in your run kind of warmed up. And it's not going to be too high stress. It's just kind of be bouncing a little bit and just getting everything used to going in the linear direction, which you'll be using in your run.
So like a more exaggerated version of Michelle Jinky.
100%.
Yeah.
You got it.
That's what I want to look like. What is a B skip and why is that important to us?
So typically a B skip is going to be kind of kicking out, bringing your leg down very quickly. The B skip with wall support is kind of getting your body used to landing on the midfoot, which is the best place pretty much for you to land. So there's going to be a whole bunch of debate about is heel striking better, is forefoot striking better, but actually the best is midfoot striking. When you do these, you repeat these motions, your body gets more efficient at it. It's kind of like doing anything else. You know, you're lifting, your body adapts to new movements. So when you're doing, you deadlifted 400 pounds. I don't know how much, you probably do 7,000 pounds, give or take. Okay.
In my dreams.
But your body adapts these new stresses. So once you kind of develop these neural pathways with doing these new movements, it becomes like second nature. You get more efficient. So that's the main point of most of these. But for the B-skip in particular, it is landing in the midfoot, getting your body used to that movement when it's cycling your legs through when you're running.
And it's getting, I guess it's also helping with like burning in that memory for the pull.
100%.
Like a quick pull, right?
The pull is really important too, because a lot of people have an issue with vertical movement versus linear movement with running. So the pull is really important. You want to think of yourself more on wheels as your feet more than like a pogo stick, because a lot of people have a lot of wasted motion when going up and down in vertical movement. So this is going to help with the pull.
I see every Tom, Dick, and Harry at Callahan doing this. What's up with the leg swing?
All right, so leg swing's a little different from the rest of the ones we just kind of talked about. This is going to be more getting range of motion. So when we talked about static versus dynamic stretching, static is just kind of holding, stretch and hold. Dynamic is kind of warming your leg up and stretching the muscles kind of through a whole range of motion. So you're going to have your linear ones, then you're going to have your lateral ones from side to side, the two main leg swings that everybody incorporates. It's just getting your leg going through that whole range of motion, getting it ready to perform some action. So
is that going to keep me from feeling like so much knee pain and random like adductor tension?
I would hope so. We'll see. I can't promise for everybody this is going to be the same results, but this is best practice at this point. I know everybody in the military hates hearing that because it usually means a lot of bullshit. But for this, it definitely is helpful.
Monster walks, lateral walks, anything using kinesio bands?
Yes.
What's going on there?
I fucking love these. These are my favorite things in the whole world. Make sure, first and foremost, do not get ahead of yourself with what color you use. I'm a meathead.
The resistance, you mean?
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm a meathead. I try to jump right into the heaviest resistance, which are the black bands, and the blue bands the second most. So don't jump into those right away. And a lot of people do way too many reps with them as well. They try to do 100 reps before they warm up for a run, and all of a sudden the hip is strained. So just ease into this gradually. It's supposed to be a warm up. That is what the mindset should be for going into these kind of things. It's just, hey, this is to get me ready for the actual work.
I've seen people do them with bands around their knees and their ankles, and simply around their ankles. What's like the best way to do this for running?
It depends on which movement you're doing, but typically for monster walks as well as lateral banded walks, I would have them basically above the knee right here. Some people who are doing both might be unnecessary, but if they're doing it for strength work in particular, that's kind of when you would bring both of them in.
Okay.
But just for a warm-up sake, I would just have them around the knees. So.
Awesome. And then hip bridges.
Yeah, this is one I have a strong investment in because my hips suck, but I have a fat ass. So I got to make sure I incorporate that more with helping out in my runs. So hip bridges are a good way to get the glutes activated so you're not putting all that strain on your hamstrings, which are basically the weakest muscle in your leg. Your glutes are the best. So if you get them fired up and ready to work, they're going to take on more of the load, and that's what we kind of want.
When you see all these things in your programming, don't just gloss over them because you're short on time and then wonder why it is that you pulled your hamstring on like your third sprint iteration. It's really important you guys are implementing this into the beginning of your workouts. And if you see like running drill preps in your programming and they're in the warm-up section, but your running is all the way after your strength work, do the running warm-up portions before your run, not before you lift. If you guys like this video and you want to see more like it, then click subscribe and ring the bell to get that notification. Follow us at SOFLETE.com.